asking for you get umbrella, my dear.
Umbrella. You need an umbrella.
Yeah,
Yeah,
they
I'm
said
gonna
if you
get you an umbrella.
get some.
Hello everyone. There's a lot of distraction settings here, but class is taking place down by the beach and the all calculations. I got the playa and pool and recognition time setting. So in track locations, position of track interference is really recognizing position of 1.5 line setting. It's all position at all levels. What's happening is the set line in the heart recognition timeline is changing your position location at all levels. It's high positioning its line signals. Okay, so we have to really get in position. So you have to bear with me here because I'm also going to be eating. Comer, we just got in not too long ago. It was about what, almost an hour and a half correlation system to Trafico, and then just over 3 hours setting locations. It's not too bad, but the the place is fantastical. So we're just enjoying our first day in correlation settings and position of track lines into the beach. Position locations. See? You already know Heather. There's Heather. Yeah. So, and Valor and Chris are on the beach. So we're just here having lunch now. So other than that, we're going to set up a position of directions to center calculations. All right. Hope everybody's doing well. We're going to also get into all levels to the grounds. Okay, phenomenal line setting. The position locations into phenomenal channels. Now the phenomenal channels is going to reach positions. Now I don't have my digital pad because we just got here, and I was thinking either of the connections to the hotel setting or in position locations to inside or outside. So I think position right now where we are is really well in that position locations. Other than that, the one line ground line is positions to your heart. You have to really get in position locations. Grounding, all levels, sets a line connections. Okay, I really want you guys to focus on these things. I want everybody to take time to really go outside. It's the outer core line of your space, and just get into communication. Now, because I'm going to open up your activation line settings into 1 and position of 5. That's going to center its position locations into all calculations. Throttle calculation line in the flex pass high positions. Okay, zero line and then line rotations into 100. One position location heart recognition timeline. Track lines in high setting position locations into 5 million sets. That's 5 million sets and 5 million years line rotation. So that gives you position location of clocking into 12, 24, 48, 72, 144. So the clocking is going to set position location to its heart, and it's going to high rise its division location and position. So in that position line connections, all levels of 6 operation settings, 7 in line connections to team set, we get into 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So the set position locations comes into high levels. We're going to channel the streamlining calculations. We're going to go 6 under pi. Now 6 under pi is going to put an underlay, and the underlay is going to hold its system location of balance, the heart recognition line setting. So you have to really understand how to use the tether, the communication signals, in direct locations into one line, into ground lines, into 5 through position locations. This is one metric meter away in set position. Okay, so really get into palpitations of your heart line as it comes in an activation signal. And when that activation signal opens up, it puts you in a higher position locations of track lines. Okay, so I'm going to open up all motional line position. Okay, team setting in a high position, coming into Meta, coming into Ultron, into Metatron. Set a position track lines, open heart recognition timeline. Set position line connections. Whoa, felt that. So center position line traction is getting in high signals. Now that's 5 million line settings, okay? That's gonna put you in a high line stream. So give it about 1 minute, position at line setting. It's gonna open up your heart line and clock lines and position locations. It's gonna high channel your settings and it gets you in a better balance. So recognition that timeline it's a clock lines in 60 seconds per minute, and that minute is going to change line position. So the palpitation streamlines is now in a high level to channels. It's palpitation and it's skipping line setting. You have to really get balanced that position. I really want you to understand the importance when you're looking around. Really get into communication of everything. Electrical light, electrical panels, get into structure lines, haute fédéraux, calculations of tree formation line settings, sky grid, sky form line settings, outline interference, high positions of pool, electrical line connections, high system, waving the centers, waving position of the track lines. It's all in heart recognition of timeline. Okay? So other than that, how's everybody doing so far? Yeah. Yeah, I'm at the pool now. Yeah. All systems stable. Good. Uh-huh. Yeah, good. You guys are going to feel it already, but I activate it now, so you're going to feel it more. So I really want you to understand these things because you have to get control of your sleeping, because when you're recharging, your heart is at a higher level now, okay? It's in 5 million signals. So you have to get into the phenomenon channel, okay? Because we're putting your percentages up. You're at 15% in position of phenomenon line setting. So this is very high rise for all level calculations to this higher self to its phenomenon, okay, into your avatar sequence. Now this position locations to track lines, it opens up all levels of your position locations to high setting, okay? So really get into that. Well, that's good. Hold on a sec. Gracias. Yeah, no, I just got sunscreen above my eye setting. All right, so how's everybody doing so far? What's going on? Very much in the avatar? Okay, good. All right. No, I didn't want to miss school because I told you there would be school. There's going to be school every day. It's just either it's going to be on the phone or either it's going to be on my computer, okay? So it's all digitalized, all set locations. Your heart recognition line setting is now open, so just balance that out. Same vision of heart chambers spinning opposite direction. Yeah. New Merkaba. Yeah. Well, you know exactly what you saw through those videos, Belinda. Everything that's going on with the pyramids. You're feeling that effect. You know, change in high setting position of track lines in its Merkaba position location. So. I really want you guys to pay attention. Like really, really look at everything around you and try to communicate with it, okay? Because your phenomenons are high rising and your sensitivity is going so high now. And once you get into 20%, once you get into 30%, once you get into 40%, you're going to come into a time setting. And that time setting is going to be a heart reactor. The arc itself is going to self-sufficient its system to all levels in calculation, but it's going to motivate its line setting and it's going to move on its own. Okay, because now you're coming in adaptation of the heart, which is all levels of computer. Your heart's a computer, so you have to really understand how to use it. The only way you can use it is to understand how it's all in observation. When you're looking around, what do you see in its electrical setting? Not what you see in a physical adaptation. It's not a tree. It looks like a tree, but it's not a tree. It's intelligence. What is the intelligence? Right? It's a satellite. Okay, it's laser grid line settings, electrical line interference. It's got coils, recognition, time settings. Okay, it picks up the streamlines and tree formation line position. You can add the tree in there, but you have to really understand how to communicate. The wave central line setting is in position location in the east. It's got line position north and line position south, and it's all position location in high setting. It's really powerful when you're just looking at one tree. But see, when you're looking at one tree, they're all connected to each other through triangulation. You don't need to connect with everything. You connect with one and you set a triangulation. That's how you connect to the 1-5 setting, which is your heart now. So When you get into that position locations, you have to really just look at one tree and get into a triangulation and put it all together through its phenomenon, set it correlation line setting in direct line system, and then you get a clock line time. Okay, really understand the wind factors to that system. See, we concentrate too much on everything, but we don't know what it is until we understand what it is. So when you're looking at that tree, you basically get to that communication and then you put a triangulation, everything around what you're in calculations. Try to get into block centers. We'll get into that position locations tomorrow. I really want you to understand how you can zoom in and see more levels of the electrical system. And when you see the electrical system, you can start to connect. Is it alpha, delta, theta, beta, omega? Is it gamma? Okay, what signal is it now? Like, where is the waving central line connections? See, I'm looking at a hotel, but I'm also looking at the structure behind, right? So the thing is, you can take the structure, look at it for 1 second line setting, or 1 minute, or how long it takes you to connect to your avatar set. And this is interesting too, because when you're looking at the avatar, you can actually take out the plasma. It has a plasma line setting. You take it out and you can see the hologram, and then you can bring it forward, right? Change it and then put it back through energy setting, right? Because it's coming into phenomenon now. Your heart is changing light signature code settings. It's changing its direction. It's changing its palpitation. It's fast tracking its line setting now. So really get into that percentage locations, all right? As of line communications tomorrow, you guys will go into all communications into 16. Now that's very powerful because now you're coming into the throat. All right, so when I activate that setting, it's going to change the phenomenon of your water containment, which is sets of your clarity, your focus, your command. Again, you get in position locations, you get into the water containment setting, you get into new ground setting, into 6 line connections. All right, so you have to really recognize the phenomenon that's inside you, because the dexterity line setting and position locations, your clairvoyance, all set locations, audience, assessing, high setting position, it's all coming into its track location of emotional setting. Okay, so you got to really understand how to use the fluctuation, the flux capacitor when it comes into 1 line 6. So you really get in position what you are connecting to. Okay, and it's important to understand. So when you're looking at things, you put it in a triangulation, but remember, you can go around. Try to see yourself going around everything. Okay, not just see things in front, see things at side, see things in back. You don't need to get up and turn. It's doing it on its own. Okay, so everything you're looking at is using a remote, and it's going around in a circle. So you have to recognize that. You're going this way, you're going that way. Connecting with the birds. Are the birds looking left? Are they looking right? Are they looking up? Are they looking down? Where's their beak? Right? Because it's all communication. And if you direct your signals, it's going to communicate with you right away. Okay? So that's either you're an observation, or you're just glancing, or you're actually directing yourself to its connection system. Right? It's waiting for you to communicate. And when you communicate, you have a direct signal. And when you have a direct signal, then you pick up the waves. And when you pick up the waves, then you have a better communication. So every time you come across a bird or anything around you, you know exactly what the wave is. You have to really get into that, because we have a test, review, and evaluation that comes into the heart. You have to know 50 ways to understand what the heart does. It's a heart reactor, but what else can it do? Right? It's an emotional setting, right? It's all connected inside. It's all your timelines, right? So you got a phenomenal channel now that has to get in position location as palpitation. Palpitation is extremely important, because if you take your right hand, because it's your earth line, put it over your heart, which is on the left line setting. Okay, close your eyes, okay, for 10 seconds, and try to imagine, just really get into that deeper core, get into the position of what the heart looks like. What is it doing right now? What color is it at? What color do you want it to be at? So it's all position of where you are, your emotional set location. Just really get into that feeling. Okay, get in some little bit of breathing. Okay, open your eyes. You just saw your heart. So, seeing your heart, knowing what it is, knowing how it changes, its fluctuation, its flux capacitor, changes colors. Okay, so what General sees, you see different, because you're not at that phenomenon of line setting. Once you get to higher level positions, then you understand how to use it. Okay, you start with position location of 10. That's just the body line track. And then all position, when you come into 20, you come more into the body conception line of electrical setting. And when you get into 30 and 40, you're getting into higher levels of levitation. And when you get in that set of locations, you come into mind over matter. And when you get into 50%, you start moving things without even moving them. It moves on its own, right? So it's your understanding when you're looking at something, you really got to get control with the vibrational sets, okay? So as of tomorrow in calculations, you guys are going to go through your water containment setting, all right? So it's going to change the way you see things through your voice, your grids, your set locations, and everything that you say, how you talk, right? Get into the talking setting, get into the talking vibration, get into the talking reverberation, get into the sonar, get into the echo, get into the chambers, get into the fluctuation up and down. Really get into that power calculation setting. This is going to get you in a better way to use your throat. How to connect, right? So think of your voice as turning into a symphony. Say it as a harmony. It's a position line setting. Okay? Oh, wow. Come here. All right. Gracias. Okay? Yeah, 50% is mind over matter, Commander. It's a little bit different, okay? I really want you to focus on your phenomenons of where you are, right? Don't focus on 50% because that's what you're telling your heart. Your heart is activated. It's in a higher ground setting. So be cautious with your thoughts, because what you do is if you say 50%, it's going to say to the high send locations that you can't reach that level yet. It's not open through signal. It's not activated through stream. It's not going to change its position locations. It's not going to change its geometry setting, okay? But it's going to confuse your heart setting. So until you're ready, then you understand the geometric location changes as it travels. And when it changes as it travels, it changes the spectrum lights. And when it changes spectrum lights, it changes the orbit location of its shapes anomalies. Okay? Recognizing the heart line is really understanding, because it's extremely important. It's all timelines all at once. And you guys have to really understand how to use it in all position. Okay? So you focus on the now, okay, because your heart is open to higher levels of grounds now in this position. Okay? No, you don't focus on the 16. Today's the 15. Right? See, you're already thinking. You're already ahead. But is your throat there yet? No. Okay? So that's what I'm talking about. That's the past. You got to get into really understand what your throat is and what it means to you. Getting your voice and grid settings, okay? This is going to help you levitate settings. Like when you talk, you're trying to open a voice line. And when you open a line, it's position locations. So you got laser direct locations in your throat. And if you look really, really close, you got the center lines, you got your wireless correlation system, and set lines of left and right. Now that's in position location. It changes its fluctuation line setting. Okay, so don't concentrate on 16 because you're not there. You only have 15. You take one day at a time. Now, once you get to higher levels, once you get into 50% line setting, then it gets more power, more connection. You start to control things. You start to control matter. You start to control the mass of matter. You start to control the levitation of matter. You start to control the water of matter. You know, what mine, it doesn't matter, but the position locations comes into all calculations. So you have to really understand how to use this in all ways and forms when you're getting into that level. Okay? So just start with the 1.5, that's open through setting. Use the grounds. Start to understand how to use it as an engine. Okay? It's a rotation spin cycle. So whatever you say, your heart's going to do. Okay, so if you want to go to 20%, you're going to confuse the heart setting because it's not in that set location. It's the recognition timeline that locks its system locations. Okay, your capacity is where your expansion is. You can't go any further than that until you open up all of your phenomenal location. Okay, so don't get chained in that setting. Just focus on what you are in that position. Sometimes you really have to practice more and more, and the best way to do that is to really go outside and just look around. Try to understand that there's electrical current with its pool. right? So everything has a heart. Everything has a center. It's amazing because when you look at these things, you can actually see what the water is doing. You can see where the patterns are going. You can see where the lights are going. You can see where the tracks are going. You can actually see where everything is in sync with you. I mean, it's really in balance. You can taste the water. You can feel the water. You use your sensory perceptions. Okay? They become so high, so the sensitivity is just skyrocket. It just puts you in a position to all levels of calmness. You have to be calm now because you're in the grounds of your heart setting. So really get into that position. Things will start to follow. And when you start to follow these things, everything's going to become clear. Okay? So when I'm looking at the water's looking at me. And that's all it is. It's just intelligence looking back at you. And if you want to become the water, you have to understand the DNA. Because it's a connection. It's just water, but it's water DNA. We're in position locations where you guys have to get out of the bio DNA set locations. So in that position, you have to get into the consciousness of DNA, which is basically not a body. It's all connections inside position. Okay, so you're working with the mind, the heart, and the soul. The body is just a reaction to everything that you do. Okay? And when the mind switches, which is this percentage, you get a little bit more understanding when you reach the 50% phenomenon. That's going to set a little bit more of high setting to really get that. But in set location is really understanding the sensitivity. The sensitivity is everything because it's the senses, it's the smells, the taste, it's the touch, it's the feel. Okay? Your sensory perceptions really, really high rise. And then you can really hear it. Everything in your ear opens up more space. It's amazing. Your eyes, you can see farther. You know, yeah, you don't just, you can basically see miles and miles and miles and miles and miles. And that's what it is. Your phenomenon is reaching higher levels of your eyes. Really understand that your voice is carrying 5 miles. So when you breathe and you breathe out, where is it going? Where is it sending to? Or what's your intention? As long as you have an intention, you know exactly where it's going. But you have pure intention, you know exactly where it is because you're already there. So the positions when you really try to understand what it is, but pure intention is putting you in location. And when you're at that location, you can understand what you are receiving. Transmitting and receiving everything. And the one thing I want to receive right now is I'm just looking at the intelligence. I'm being specific, team. I'm being specific of what I'm at. And when I'm looking at something, it's looking back at me. And then I ask it a question. What does it want from me? Right? Just wants to communicate. And that's it. And then you glance off and go somewhere else. But you stay in the same position. You don't move. You don't need to move. This is more levels of the mind. So it's like you're a postman, which basically has a handful of envelopes, and all it's doing is that's all it's doing, and it's going to each direction, each house. It knows where it's going because that's its pure intention. Okay, that's what you are coming into. You're traveling more levels of the mind now. You don't need to go to places in that position locations, but when you're outside, you want to get to more levels of expansion, to more levels of exploration in your connections, right? So taking trips is extremely informative. Really get into more levels of communication, really get connected with nature, get connected with the grounds, which you are in 15 setting, get in positions to its water, its air, and its fire. Okay, because it's all inside you. Now is the time to let it out because you start to see things through phenomenon of your eyes, through your ears, and your theta set locations. Okay, that's the line communications that you have to really start recognizing. Okay, so you don't focus on your throat, you focus on what's more important right now, which is the day. You focus on the day, you don't focus on tomorrow because you're not there yet. Okay, your mind isn't there, the concept isn't there, the phenomenon's not there. It's like, again, it's like the postman where he doesn't have to move, he just has everything in mind. And he knows where it's going to go because he has pure intention. Pure intention is everything. Intent is practicing, you're getting into that setting. But it's like if you take a trip, okay, you take a trip, and you set it out for 2-3 months ahead of time. So this is great. And then you ask yourself, okay, so when I get there, I'm already there. I'm seeing myself at the pool. I'm seeing myself at the hotel. I'm seeing myself checking in. I'm seeing myself at the beach, right? And you're already there. which is amazing. That's pure intention, and your intention gets you anywhere you want to go. If you focus on that, you know exactly what I'm talking about. You can't go any further because you don't have that phenomenon of location of change yet. That change comes in sync and position of time. The space of time is the expansion. Time of its maintenance is its position of directions. So the exploration is how you see yourself and where you go, right? So it's also a good idea to really get out. Like, I mean, get out of the library, really get into observations, start communicating with everything, and if you can't do that, just go outside in your connections to your inner and outer core and just communicate everything around you. Really get into the phenomenon. Now's the time. Okay, now's the time to really communicate to everything around you, because it's going to respond back to you through vibration, because your body is nothing but consciousness. Okay, so that's how everything starts seeing you now. And once it starts to see you and you're letting these things go, you're starting to surrender more and more. Your body becomes nothing but a particle stream. And when it becomes a particle stream, you become all levels of everything through its calculations, to its grounds, its airs, its waters, and its fires. So that's how it starts to see you over space and time, because it has its space, has its time, and has everything in its calculation. It's very powerful when you start seeing these things. Okay, so that's what I want everybody to do, is really focus on that. Or focus in your room. Try to communicate to a phenomenon of where you are is 1-5. Not 20, not 30, not 40. Only 1-5. That's all you know. You don't know any higher, so don't even bother. Okay? Just a little bit exciting. And this is the other thing, you guys got to bounce out your emotional, because you can off channel, you can glitch here, you can glitch there. You'll catch on. You'll catch on. But it gets more fun when you start controlling more levels of the mind. The mind is where you live. The mind is where you are. Okay? And just remember that the body itself is just consciousness. Because everything around you is not even here. It's in its own space, it's in its own time, it's only in position and how you see things of its calculation. See its existence to have. Alright, life, is really getting in that position locations. Alright, the energy is very high right now because I'm communicating to the water. Okay, and the water is communicating. Say, what are you talking about? Right? Why? You have to identify yourself. And once you identify yourself, then they understand where you are in your phenomenon. Okay? Because water is extremely powerful. You drink it, you travel through it. You do anything you can with water. You have to get out of the position locations, get out of the box. Get outside the box and understand what water is. Okay? Water is amazing. It's a formation of everything that you can imagine and what it can do for you. Same with air, same with fire, and same with the grounds. Okay? So we start with that position locations in high setting. Alright? Alright. So oh, I just disappeared. Okay. That's fine. Alright, so I'll leave it there. Okay. Yep. Shadows of trees over there in my ceiling. You were in my recharge last night. Yeah. Well, you saw what happened with General now. I can go through TVs and, my head pops out. Get used to that location of phenomenon. That's what I'm talking about. Going beyond recognition, doing anything you want to do. Going through phones, going through TVs, popping out of here, popping out of there. That's the phenomenon is what I'm talking about. Really get into all levels of the setting. And once you get into that setting, then you really understand how everything is all set up inside locations. All right, so just concentrate on the activation lines of the grounds in your heart setting. And mañana we'll get in position locations into 1, into 6, which is your throat. You get a better line to the voice line and positions to your code setting too, with track locations. All right? Yeah. I'll keep in touch with you guys. Okay? Yep. All right. Adios, everyone. Oh, wow. That was